There are certain moments in life when someone enters your world and it stops feeling like coincidence. You can try to go back and trace how everything unfolded, searching for a logical explanation. But deep down, you already sense that logic was never really running the show. This person didn't just appear randomly. Their presence had meaning. And when they came into your life, something inside you shifted, quietly, but in a way that never really left. Even now, as you try to move forward, as you tell yourself it's over and attempt to reason your way through the pain, there's still something gently pulling your attention back to them. Not in a desperate way, but with a strange sense of familiarity. If you're hearing this right now, it's not accidental. The messages that truly matter tend to arrive exactly when you're ready for them. There's a part of you beginning to wake up, a deeper awareness that refuses to stay silent. It's that inner feeling telling you this connection wasn't something meant to be easily forgotten. You might feel conflicted. Part of you wants to let go, while another part still holds on. You question yourself, especially when what you feel doesn't match what you see. Silence can create doubt, and distance can make even strong emotions feel uncertain. Maybe you've wondered if it was all in your head, if you imagined something that wasn't really there. But if it were just an illusion, it would have faded by now. Time has a way of dissolving things that aren't real. This hasn't disappeared, and that says something. What you're feeling isn't the kind of loud, restless energy that comes with obsession. It's something quieter, deeper. It sits beneath your thoughts, surfacing in still moments, in dreams, or in waves of emotion that seem to come out of nowhere. It feels unfinished. When you first met them, it wasn't just attraction or compatibility. There was something familiar about them, even though you couldn't explain why. Conversations may have seemed normal on the surface, but the energy wasn't. There was a sense of comfort mixed with intensity, something rare that leaves a lasting impression. Connections like this don't leave you unchanged. They shift something within you. They open doors you can't close again. And even now, despite the distance or silence, it's very possible they feel something too, just not in a way they're able to express. Some people carry deep emotions internally while appearing composed on the outside. Silence doesn't always mean absence of feeling. Sometimes it means the feeling is too overwhelming to process. Your presence may have stirred something in them they weren't ready to face. Instead of leaning into it, they stepped back, hoping distance would quiet what they felt. But it doesn't really work like that. Even without communication, certain connections linger. In their quiet moments, when distractions fade, thoughts of you may surface naturally. Memories replay. The way they felt around you stands out, especially when everything else feels dull in comparison. That contrast can be unsettling. Their distance doesn't necessarily mean they don't care. Sometimes it means they care more than they know how to handle. There can be internal struggles you were never meant to fix. Old fears, emotional wounds, or a discomfort with vulnerability. For some, love doesn't feel safe, not because of the other person, but because of what it brings up within themselves. This is where many meaningful connections start to break. One person becomes aware and emotionally open, while the other pulls away from what's being reflected back at them. You may have unknowingly shown them parts of themselves they had buried, and instead of facing those parts, they retreated. But once something is awakened, it can't simply go back to sleep. What's been felt and understood doesn't just disappear. You came into their life and reminded them of something real: honesty, emotional depth, and connection. That kind of impact doesn't just fade away, it stays and slowly reshapes things over time. If this connection were truly over, it would have ended clearly and completely. Instead, it lingers in small reminders, in dreams, in unexpected thoughts, not as something urging you to chase, but as something asking you to trust the process, even when you don't fully understand it. There's a difference between forcing something to happen and allowing it to unfold naturally. It's okay to feel tired. Loving someone deeply without clarity can be exhausting, but having hope doesn't make you weak. It reflects something deeper, something intuitive. And intuition isn't loud or demanding, it's patient. Right now, things may not be visible on the surface, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Change often begins quietly. Resistance softens, fear gets challenged, and hearts that once closed off begin to open in their own time. Whether they admit it or not, the thought of losing you completely may start to feel heavier than the fear of trying again. This isn't the end of your story. It's a pause, a space where growth and understanding take shape. You're not being asked to wait aimlessly. You're being asked to stay grounded, to remain open, but without losing yourself in the process. Patience isn't about sitting still and hoping something happens. It's about staying grounded, steady, and self-respecting while trusting that things unfold in their own time. It's the kind of patience that doesn't chase or force, because it recognizes that what's real doesn't need pressure to exist. As you take this in, notice what feels true without effort. Real understanding doesn't need to argue or convince you. It just settles quietly. And if, instead of anxiety, you feel even a small sense of calm, that's your sign. This connection hasn't disappeared, it's evolving, and as it changes, so are you. The mind often struggles with this because it wants clear answers, timelines, and labels. But deeper connections don't follow that structure. Growth happens in uncertainty. It strips away illusions, unrealistic expectations, and false attachments until only what's genuine remains. What you're experiencing isn't just waiting, it's transformation. You've likely already felt the shift within yourself. You're not the same person you were before this connection entered your life. You understand your emotions more deeply now. Your standards have changed. You can no longer accept something surface level or inconsistent. There's a part of you that now insists on something real, something stable, something aligned, and that didn't happen by accident. It came from this experience. Not every connection is meant to stay immediately. Some arrive to awaken you first. They show you what's possible, what you truly need, and what you deserve beyond what you were once willing to settle for. And once that awareness is there, it doesn't disappear. Even if the person isn't physically present, the truth they brought into your life continues to live within you. That's why letting go feels so complicated. It's not just about releasing a person. It's about holding on to a version of yourself that came alive through knowing them. You discovered how deeply you can feel, how open your heart can be, how capable you are of real emotional connection. And growth like that doesn't just fade away. At times, doubt will still show up. You might question, if this were real, wouldn't it be easier? Or, if they cared, wouldn't they show it? Those thoughts are natural, but they come from the logical mind trying to measure something that doesn't operate on logic alone. Deep connections don't move in straight lines. They unfold in cycles, revisiting the same themes with more depth each time, asking for more honesty, more courage, and more self-awareness. What makes this situation feel complicated isn't a lack of feeling, it's a difference in timing. You may feel ready to open fully, while they're still working through their own fears and resistance. And readiness isn't something you can give to someone else. It has to come from within them, through facing what they've been avoiding and choosing vulnerability over protection. There are likely moments when they think about reaching out, moments when your name crosses their mind and they almost act on it. But fear interrupts. Fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of not being enough, or fear of reopening something they don't yet feel capable of handling. So they hold back, hoping time will somehow resolve what only courage can. But time doesn't erase something unresolved. It brings it back in quieter moments, when distractions fade, when conversations feel empty, when something reminds them of how it felt with you. You become a quiet reference point they compare everything else to, even if they don't say it out loud. You may also notice signs appearing in your own life, small, meaningful moments that seem too aligned to ignore. A song that reflects exactly what you're feeling, a dream that brings clarity, or a memory that now carries warmth instead of pain. These aren't there to pull you backward, they're there to keep you grounded in trust. Trust doesn't mean waiting in discomfort or putting your life on hold. It means staying connected to yourself while allowing what's meant for you to come naturally. And within you, something important is shifting. You're starting to understand the difference between needing someone and being aligned with them. Needing says, I can't feel okay without this person. Alignment says, I'm already whole, and what's meant for me will meet me in that place. That shift changes everything. When you stop chasing clarity and begin living in it, the dynamic itself begins to transform. The pressure fades. The connection is no longer driven by anxiety, but by a sense of calm presence. And that's the space where something real can actually come together. Because if they came back while you were still doubting yourself or feeling incomplete, the same patterns would repeat. But if they return when you're grounded, confident, and emotionally steady, then something new can form, something healthier and more balanced. This delay isn't holding you back. It's preparing you to receive love without losing yourself, preparing you to recognize real effort instead of chasing potential, preparing you to stand in your own worth rather than seeking validation. Even if they can't explain it, they feel this change in you. They sense that your energy is no longer reaching outward in the same way. You're not waiting with the same urgency anymore. And that shift makes the connection feel more real to them, because now it's no longer guaranteed. It has to be chosen. That's where fear starts to lose its hold. The possibility of truly losing you becomes real, and that clarity has a way of cutting through avoidance. Emotions they've been holding back begin to surface. Memories soften. Regret can appear. The desire to fix things may start to grow. For you, this might feel like moments of calm followed by waves of emotion. That's part of alignment settling in. You're no longer resisting what you feel, but you're also not losing yourself in it. You're allowing the connection to exist without trying to control it. That balance holds real power. It shows that you're ready for the truth, whatever form it takes. The path between you isn't blocked, it's being cleared. Misunderstandings are slowly dissolving. Emotional walls are weakening. What once felt chaotic is quietly reorganizing itself beneath the surface. Right now, you don't need to prove anything. You don't need to explain or convince. Just stay present. Stay honest with yourself. Stay open, but without chasing. Everything else is unfolding in its own time. As you continue on this path, you may begin to feel something different. Not longing, but a quiet certainty. A kind of inner knowing that doesn't need constant reassurance. A trust that stands on its own. Eventually, the intensity softens into understanding. Not because the connection disappears, but because your relationship with it changes. You stop asking why this is happening to you and begin to see how it's shaping you. And that shift changes everything. What once felt like pain starts becoming clarity. You begin to understand that this connection was never meant to consume you. It was meant to reveal you, to show you where you had been abandoning yourself, to teach you the difference between emotional intensity and true intimacy, between holding on out of fear and staying from a place of genuine love. As that realization settles in, the heaviness begins to lift. Thoughts of them come with less urgency and more peace. Sometimes there's warmth, sometimes there's acceptance, but there's a new level of emotional clarity that wasn't there before. This is real growth, and when one person in a deep connection grows, the entire dynamic has to shift. Energy naturally moves toward balance. When you stop searching for answers and start embodying them, things begin to change. What once felt stuck starts to move. What once felt confusing begins to make sense. They feel this shift too. Even if they can't fully understand it, your energy reaches them differently now. Not as need, but as quiet strength. And that kind of presence is far more powerful than anything driven by pursuit. Even the silence between you begins to carry a different meaning. What you're experiencing now isn't rejection the way it once felt. It's something deeper. It's a phase where real inner work is happening, on both sides. They're being pushed to look within, to face the habits and defenses they've relied on for so long. Avoidance, emotional distance, the need for control. These patterns once protected them, but now they're the very things keeping them alone. There are moments when they feel a strong urge to reach out, to close the distance. But almost immediately, hesitation takes over. That inner conflict isn't really about you. It's about them standing at the edge of their own growth. Moving forward would mean being vulnerable in a way they're not used to. Staying where they are means risking the loss of something rare and meaningful. That tension can't last forever. What matters most for you right now isn't how much you hope or how strongly you feel. It's how deeply you stay connected to yourself. The more you honor who you are, the clearer everything becomes. Whether this leads to a genuine reunion or a peaceful letting go, it won't break you anymore. It will only strengthen you. And deep down, there's already a quiet sense that this connection still carries something unfinished. Not because it needs more confusion or drama, but because it needs honesty. Things left unsaid. Feelings that were never fully expressed. Decisions delayed out of fear. These don't just disappear. They wait for the moment courage steps in. Fear is present for both of you right now, but it's not there to block you. It's there to be faced. Your role has been learning how to trust what you feel without losing yourself in it. Their role is learning how to open up without hiding behind old defenses. Both of these processes are unfolding, even if slowly. You might notice that the idea of reconnecting doesn't feel as intense or overwhelming as it once did. That's not because your feelings have faded, it's because you've changed. You're no longer drawn to fantasy or uncertainty. You want something real, clear communication, consistent effort, and genuine presence. And this shift isn't pushing them away. It's actually calling them to rise to a higher level. A lot of people misunderstand deep connections like this. They think the pain is the proof that struggle means depth. But real connections aren't meant to trap you in suffering. They're meant to guide you back to yourself first. And only then, if everything aligns, can they come together in a healthy way. You may soon notice small changes, unexpected moments where communication opens, or a conversation feels more honest than before. It might not be dramatic. It could be subtle, but real. Let those moments unfold naturally. Anything genuine doesn't need to be rushed. If fear comes up again, the fear of getting hurt or hoping too much, don't fight it. Just recognize it for what it is. A memory of past pain, not a prediction of what's ahead. You're not the same person anymore. You're stronger, clearer, and more grounded. You don't need to prove your worth through endless patience. Your growth already speaks for itself. Whether they meet you at this level is their choice, but they will feel the difference in you. Life responds to who you are being, not just what you want. And right now you're embodying self-respect, emotional balance, and quiet confidence. That kind of energy shifts everything in ways effort never could. Notice how your body responds when you think about them now. There's less urgency, less tension, more space, more calm. That's alignment. That's you settling into what's real. What happens next isn't about waiting anymore. It's about allowing. Allowing life to show you the truth. Allowing love to meet you where you are now, not where you once were. This connection will either grow into something real or gently fade into understanding without bitterness. Still, there's a sense that it's not completely finished yet. Something is still forming beneath the surface. Courage is building. Honesty is getting closer to being expressed. A conversation is waiting for the right moment, one that comes from wholeness, not fear. Stay grounded, stay honest with yourself, because what's coming next will ask something different from you. Not endurance, but clarity. Not waiting, but discernment. There's a quiet strength that develops when you no longer need outside reassurance to trust what you feel. You stop searching for signs because something inside you has already settled. Not in resignation, but in real trust. Trust that what's true won't avoid itself forever. At this stage, the connection starts to feel less like a question and more like a reflection. It shows you exactly where you stand. And now you see clearly, this was never meant to be chased. It was meant to be met. And that can only happen when both people are fully standing in themselves. You're no longer trying to prove your value. You're no longer explaining your feelings or defending your heart. You know who you are now. You know how deeply you can love. And you understand that real love doesn't hide behind confusion. This inner stability changes everything. When you stop bending yourself to keep something alive, the truth of that connection has no choice but to reveal itself. Either it rises to meet you, or it shows you where it cannot. Both outcomes bring clarity. They're feeling this shift too. The energy you once gave so freely isn't there in the same way anymore. Not because you've closed off, but because you've stopped losing yourself in the process. Your presence is now steady, clear, and grounded, and that can be confronting for them. It brings their unprocessed emotions to the surface, and emotions don't stay buried forever. There are moments now where they feel the weight of what they could lose. The contrast becomes too clear to ignore. This is where something deeper begins to awaken in them. Not guilt, but responsibility. Responsibility for what wasn't said, what wasn't done, and what fear kept them from choosing. And that's where real change begins. You've already made your choice. You chose growth. You chose self-respect. You chose to stand in your truth instead of chasing something uncertain. Now they're standing at the edge of making that same decision. What matters now isn't speed, it's direction, and something is shifting. You might feel moments of closeness without any real contact. A sudden sense of peace, warmth, or quiet knowing. This isn't imagination, it's connection at a deeper level. Distance doesn't erase that. It only delays how it shows up outwardly. And when clarity does come, it won't confuse you. It won't make you question your worth. It will feel steady, honest, and real. You've outgrown anything that looks like almost love. You're no longer moved by potential without action. You understand now that love has to be lived, not just felt. That's why everything slowed down. Because anything built before this level of awareness wouldn't have lasted. It would have collapsed under imbalance. One person ready, the other not. What's being shaped now is different. If they return, it will be with intention. Not out of loneliness or curiosity, but with real effort, accountability, and a willingness to meet you fully. And if they don't, you won't fall apart. Because what this connection truly gave you was something far greater, a deeper relationship with yourself, a stronger inner voice, a clearer understanding of what real love actually is. You now know the difference between chemistry and true compatibility, between longing and alignment, between waiting out of hope and trusting timing without losing yourself. This isn't the end of love for you. It's the beginning of something deeper. You may feel a quiet confidence growing inside you, a sense that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. That's not detachment, that's wholeness. That's what it feels like when you stop bargaining for love and start allowing it. You might also notice your life opening up again, new energy, new clarity, a renewed sense of direction. This isn't you moving on from the connection. It's you no longer being stuck inside it. You're walking alongside it now, not beneath it. And that changes everything, because real love doesn't ask you to disappear. It meets you fully as you are. Something is moving toward resolution, not through force but through truth, not through urgency but through readiness. Stay open, stay grounded, stay clear. There comes a point where you stop asking what will happen, because you finally understand why everything happened the way it did. And that understanding brings a deep sense of peace. You've moved from confusion into clarity. You're no longer attached to a specific outcome. You're aligned with truth, and truth unfolds in its own way. You can see now that the delays weren't punishment, they were protection. Without this time, without this growth, the connection wouldn't have been able to hold itself. You've learned how to stand in your own strength, how to love without losing yourself, how to trust your intuition without ignoring reality. These lessons were necessary. Now you're no longer reaching for them from a place of need. You're standing fully in yourself, and that shift changes everything between you. Because real connection isn't built through chasing, it's built through alignment. They're starting to feel that more clearly now. The fear that once held them back is weakening. The stories they told themselves to stay guarded are beginning to fall apart. Distance no longer feels safe. It feels like loss, and loss can awaken courage. Not rushed or reactive, but honest. They're beginning to realize that what they felt with you was rare. That depth can't be replaced by distractions. That recognition changes a person. If they come back, it won't be perfect, but it will be real, honest, without masks or excuses. And if it takes more time, that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Growth often happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. You're no longer waiting for them to choose you. You've already chosen yourself, and that's what makes a real meeting possible. Both of you have been facing your own shadows, becoming more aware of what once controlled your actions. That kind of growth can't be rushed or faked. If a reunion happens, it will feel different, calmer, clearer, more grounded, not driven by fear, but by truth. You'll recognize it, not just through words, but through consistency, effort, and presence. And if life leads you in another direction, you'll still be whole. Because the purpose of this connection was never to leave you empty. It was to awaken you to your own depth, your own truth, your own worth. That purpose has already been fulfilled. Now, whatever comes back into your life will come by choice, not obligation. You're not being asked to wait without reason. You're being asked to trust what has already been built within you, to trust that real love won't ask you to abandon yourself, to trust that what's meant for you won't disappear when you stop chasing it. You're no longer operating from fear or lack. You're moving from self-worth, and that's why things are starting to align. Timing isn't about the clock, it's about readiness, and you're ready. Notice the peace you feel when you imagine either outcome. That peace is your answer. You don't need this connection to complete you anymore. You already are, and anything that enters your life now must either meet you there or make space for something that will. That's real power, that's balance, that's love without illusion. What's coming next won't confuse you or drain you. It will feel clear, steady, and true. And truth, above all, is what real love is built on. If this reached you at the right moment, trust that something inside you already knows what to do next. Whether it's time to release or to believe again, only one of those will feel truly calm, grounded, and real. What you're describing taps into something very real psychologically, even if the language around it sometimes sounds mystical. When someone leaves a strong emotional imprint on you, your mind doesn't treat that experience like an ordinary interaction. It becomes meaningful, and meaning is something the brain keeps returning to, trying to understand and integrate. This is where the ideas of Carl Jung become useful. Not in a mystical sense, but in a psychological one. Jung talked about how we often project parts of ourselves onto others, especially the parts we haven't fully explored or accepted. So when you meet someone who feels deeply familiar or different, it's often because they reflect something within you that was already there, but not fully conscious. That's why it can feel intense, almost like recognition rather than discovery. That feeling of unfinished business isn't necessarily proof that the connection is meant to last forever. More often, it means the experience activated something unresolved inside you. The mind doesn't like loose ends, especially emotional ones. So it keeps replaying the connection, not just because of the person, but because of what the experience represents: possibility, depth, vulnerability, or even loss. There's also a biological side to this. When you form a strong emotional bond, your brain releases chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, which reinforce attachment. If that connection is suddenly interrupted or unclear, it creates a kind of psychological tension. Your brain keeps seeking closure, clarity, or continuation. That's why distance and silence can sometimes make feelings feel stronger instead of weaker. They remove resolution. At the same time, the narrative you shared leans heavily into the idea that both people are evolving in parallel and will eventually align. That can feel comforting, but it's important to stay grounded. Not every intense connection leads to reunion, and not every silence hides deep mutual feeling. Sometimes people pull away because they're not ready, but sometimes they pull away because they've already made a choice. It's important not to build a story that ignores real-world behavior. What is true, though, is that experiences like this often change you. They raise your awareness of what you feel, what you want, and what you're no longer willing to accept. That's a form of growth, regardless of what happens with the other person. You become more aware of your emotional depth, your boundaries, and your needs in a relationship. There's also a shift that happens when you move from needing a specific person to recognizing what that connection showed you about yourself. Instead of thinking, "This person is the only one who can make me feel this way," it becomes, "This is what I'm capable of feeling, and I can build something real with someone who meets me there." That's a much more stable and empowering place to be. The idea of alignment in your script can be understood more practically as emotional readiness and compatibility. For a relationship to work, both people need to be willing, available, and capable of showing up consistently. Feeling something deeply isn't enough on its own. Without action, communication, and mutual effort, even the strongest emotional connection stays incomplete. So the key question isn't whether the connection was meant to be in a cosmic sense. It's whether it can exist in reality in a healthy, mutual, and sustainable way. That depends less on fate and more on choices, yours and theirs. What you can take from this kind of experience, without losing yourself in it, is clarity. Clarity about the kind of love you want, the kind of presence you deserve, and the kind of connection that actually works in real life, not just in feeling. That's where the real value of these experiences lies, not in waiting for someone to come back, but in becoming someone who no longer settles for anything less than something real. This connection was never just about them, it was about who you became because of it. It brought you back to yourself, to your truth, to a deeper kind of love that no longer asks you to lose who you are. Whether they return or not, you've already gained something real, something lasting. And now, you stand in a place where love no longer confuses you. It meets you with clarity, or it doesn't stay at all.